Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a carbon fiber wrap on your R3. If you want your bike to stand out a little bit, nothing wrong with putting a little bit of a wrap on there. Putting a carbon fiber wrap will give that contrast. I'm going to put it on this black piece right here, so it's going to give it a little bit of more contrast instead of being a plain looking piece. So we're going to do a wrap on this piece right here, and also going to be doing a wrap over here on this little piece right over here. Okay, so let's get started. If you're saying to yourself, why bother getting fake carbon fiber on your bike? Well, for two reasons. One, real carbon fiber is expensive. So if you're looking to replace this piece or that piece, I mean, it could all add up. And then you're just going to be left with those pieces just in your garage. Reason number two for getting a carbon fiber wrap on your bike is if you get bored with it or you want to change it up, you're not going to be wasting money and throwing a piece away. You just peel off the carbon wrap off your bike and apply a different wrap, different color, different texture. There's so many different types of wraps out there. It's up to your choice what you want to use, and it's inexpensive. That's the third one. Okay, after you take off your fairings off of your bike, next thing you want to do is prep them before applying the wrap. And what you could use is, what I'm using is just use some alcohol and some blue towels or any kind of towels. As you can see on this fairing, went out for a ride and got caught in the rain, and I'm not too sure what kind of rain fell, but geez, it just destroyed my fairing here with some goop or something on there. On this I didn't get affected too much, but yep, as you can see. So you don't want to be putting your wrap over that nastiness right there. If you have something like that, you want to make sure that your fairing is as clean as possible using the alcohol, because it evaporates and it'll take off any oily residue that you have on the fairing and leave it with a nice smooth and clean surface. Okay, after cleaning your fairings, as you can see, even though one of them did look like it was clean, after cleaning it with the rubbing alcohol, you could actually see how dirty this rag is. So you just want to make sure that you get all that dirt, grime, and grease right off your fairings. Even though you're not able to see it with your eyes, it is there. So just make sure you give it a good cleaning, and then now you're ready for the next step. Okay, before we get started, we want to make sure we prep the area that we're going to wrap. So in order to do this, we're going to start on this small piece. I'm going to wrap this part of my bike with the carbon fiber wrap. And what you want to use is your alcohol. So this is what I'm going to use to prep the area. This will take out any dirt or grease or anything that's on this plastic. It'll evaporate, it'll get dry. Okay, so let's get started with that. Get a clean paper towel, and then you don't want to use too much alcohol, just a little bit. It is a small area, so you don't need that much to clean it. Just get a little bit on there. I would say about that much. Like I say, you don't need that much to soak it down on the paper. Now that you got it, just wipe the area. What you're doing is just getting rid of any dirt, grease, debris from the road on the piece that you're going to cover. By doing this, you'll have the adhesion of the wrap stick to the part that you're going to cover a lot better. If you don't do this process, chances you're going to just pretty much just cover up dirt and grit that's going to show right through the vinyl wrap, and it's not going to look good. You want to make sure you have a clean install. Okay, and as you can see, look at how much dirt it was actually on that piece of plastic on the fairing there. So, like I said, even though you may not see it, good idea to clean it with alcohol and get it prepped, because you never know. It may look clean, but as you can see, after cleaning it, it wasn't clean at all. But now it's clean. Okay, now let's get started with the wrap. Okay, now let's get our wrap. See, it's just a nice little rectangle what I got not going on for this little area. And you want to pretty much just do a rough kind of draft of where you're going to be wrapping it. So just kind of just put the wrap over the piece that you're going to be doing, and just kind of get a feel of how much you're going to need for the wrap. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing a job like this, it's going to take, if you've never done a wrap before, it's probably going to take you at least 1 or 2 tries to get it perfectly done. You're also going to need a heat gun to get rid of any bubbles, and if you need to stretch the wrap, you're going to have to use a heat gun for that. Also, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, or after a few tries you're not getting it right, it is going to test your patience. So if you get upset easily, this won't be a job for you. If you just feel like you can't do it, take it to your local motorcycle shop or someone that knows how to wrap. Another tip is, if you're able to take the piece off of your bike, that would be a better way of doing it. But if you don't want to go through that whole hassle of taking the piece off of your bike, you could actually do it on the bike, is also okay. So after getting your piece, you don't want to cut the piece right away if you're not too sure on how to cut it or where to cut it. I would say just get a good enough big piece to go over the section that you want to have covered. I'm going to start off with here. Just want to place it over the area you're going to be doing. Once you get the coverage that you're going to be using, you always want to make sure that you go over more than you need to. So right now I'm covering a little piece right here, but as you can see, I have so much left over. It's better to be over than to be under, because if you're under, you say, oh, I'm just going to cover this piece. Now look, when you get to this area over here, you could see there's some exposed black. Obviously you went too short, and it's not going to look good if you go under. So like I said, always go over more. You could always trim it to get it nice and tight and clean looking. So like I said, always go over more than you need to. You could always trim it later. So once you feel that you got the spot, you could start peeling the backing of your wrap and then start pressing onto the areas so it could hold on and adhere to the part that you want to get covered. Okay, and as you're putting the wrap on, don't worry if you get it bunched up or in a bubble. You could always unpeel it and stick it right back on. As you can see, just getting a piece off right here. Trying to get it as close as I can to the edge there. And then once you get it on there, start rubbing it in. If you happen to have a squeegee with a rubber end, it'd be best to use that. If not, your fingers could do just fine. But just note that you might get some bubbles in the process. So if you do, you could just peel it off and then reapply it to get the bubbles out. It is a time-consuming process, so you're going to have patience when doing this project. Because if you just rush through it, you are going to mess up. You could also use a credit card. If you happen to have a credit card, that would help you get into these tight corner space areas. Just be mindful on the credit card you're using. Maybe you want to just wrap it with a paper towel so you don't scratch your wrap. Make sure as you're doing it that you're pressing hard onto the wrap to make sure that you squeeze out all the bubbles if you happen to have any, because you don't want any bubbles in the midst of doing your wrap. And just go little by little, section by section when doing it, because if you do a big area and you start pressing on it, or trying to cover a big area just because you're in a rush, you're also going to start messing up there too. Okay, when you find yourself at a corner, you could use a very sharp X-Acto knife. When you're using a knife this sharp, make sure you're very careful when you're cutting the area that you're going to need to cut, because you could easily cut yourself very badly using this fresh new blade. So in this case, I'm going to do a small cut right here by my frame slider. So we're just going to do a small cut here. You want to make sure that you are for sure know where you're going to need to cut, because you don't want to cut less and, like I said, be short on your wrap. So I have to cut here at the edge here. I'm actually going to cut away from the edge just in case, to give me enough slack and room in case I need to adjust the wrap. Be very careful when you're going to use an X-Acto knife for any project. And as you're going along, just be mindful to keep taking out that, just pull on the white part to give you more wrap. And if you notice that I already started to trim here, don't need that much, because right here actually you're going to be, you know, folding it into the other side. So right when you see that edge where you don't need, you could actually start trimming it away with some scissors. Just be mindful that you don't want to, you know, trim away, because we still need to get to the bottom part. So I just trimmed a little bit, and we're just going to cut it from there and continue wrapping towards the bottom. Okay, as you can see, I trimmed a little bit more off of what I didn't need after really calculating how much I needed. So once you figure that out, it'll be okay to cut the excess wrap. So, but like I said, always cut a little bit further from what you need. So if you say you just need this much, actually cut this much away from it. Because like I said, it's better to be over more than under. So as you're going, go little by little on wrapping. You don't want to pull the whole white piece off and then start wrapping, because that's how you're going to get bubbles. You're going to get creases into the wrap. So as you're going, just go little by little, work little by little on the area. When you do curves and bends, that's where it's going to get tricky, because you're going to have to go around that, and it gets really touchy when you're going around curves. So just be mindful on that. If you do happen to go get a kink or a bubble, don't panic. You could actually pull the wrap off and then reapply it. If you need to go over an area, you could also use a heat gun, which what the heat gun will do, it will shrink the wrap. You got a kink or you got a bubble that you can't get rid of. Either you could poke the bubble with your X-Acto knife, just do a small pinch or a small like hole where on the bubble, and that'll let the air out so you can get it out. If not that way, use the heat gun. Be careful with the heat gun, and that will, you know, as you're doing it, just use the heat gun and pull on the wrap. That's going to shrink it and get it over the curve better. So as I work on this, like I said, little by little, going around curves, I'm going to start trimming away and going at it. This is a very tedious job, and it will try your patience, like I said before. But if you do have patience, you could get it done with no problems. As you're going around curves, get your X-Acto knife and just do small slits or small little cuts. You don't want to go ahead and do too much of a cut, because that'll mess it up. Just do like a small slit, like as I was going around my frame slider, I just did a small slit and I started working it in. You don't want to do too much of a slit, because right now I will be trimming all this excess, but as you're doing it, you know, just while you're working it in there, just do small slits and keep working the wrap onto the plastic piece that you are wrapping. So just take your time with it. And at the end, you're going to be very proud of yourself that you were able to wrap parts of your bike. Okay, now that once you get to the bottom and you already reached to the end point of where you're going to be covering, it'll be safe to say that you could actually cut the excess of your vinyl. Like I said, always cut a little bit more than what you need, just in case you need to extend your wrap or whatnot, because like I said, always better to be over than under, just in case. I got my little plastic tool here to really get into the edges. If you feel that you have some bubbles, you could always pull away from the wrap and reapply it. Okay, at this point, you're going to notice I have a lot of wrap still left on this side. I've already pressed it against here. What you want to do now is either get your scissors or get your X-Acto blade, and I would say here is the edge. You may want to cut away from it maybe 1 millimeter away, because what you're going to do is you're going to tuck the remaining wrap into the plastic edge there. Once you cut your piece off, Any excess material you have, just stick it right back onto the white paper backing. Because you could also use these pieces to cover up any spots that you missed or any touch-ups. So it's always good to save the pieces that you cut off. Don't throw them away. You could always use them to touch up other areas that you may have missed. Maybe you made a mistake on cutting a piece off. You could always cut a piece from your leftover material and match it up and put it right back on. So it's a good way to, you know, just, so as you can see, I saved a little piece that I had cut off when I was doing this area. I am going to put it to the other side because I was not able to get there. So alright, so you just want to make sure you go over it again, press on it really hard and firm, make sure you get all the little air bubbles out. Okay, now here's a close-up view of what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so now that you got your edges there, what you want to do is just start folding it in to the plastic. So just go slowly, just pressing it into the inside of the fairing here. Just go little by little and press it against inside. Should look like that once you're done. Once you cut out some of that excess, you want to go along with your credit card, or if you have a tool like this, just go pushing along the edge of the vinyl onto your fairing, because you want to make sure you just want to get all the bubbles out, and at the same time make sure you have a good good coverage all the way around. And if you're able to kind of press it along inside into the fairing, that'd even be better. If not, just try to get as close as to that you can to get a good seal on the vinyl. Now say that you weren't able to get to a section because it was very tight. As you could see right over there, I kind of missed a spot there just because it was very tight little area. This is where you would get one of your extra small pieces that you had saved that was left over. As you could see, I got one piece right here. All you have to do is just cut a little spot and then put it right there. Since it is an area where not most people are going to be looking, you could get away with cutting a piece and sticking it there. Okay, I already put my piece on there, and as you can see, you can't even tell that I even put an extra piece on there. So if you do it correctly, you could mask any spot that you've missed with no problem. If you have any leftover like this, just make sure that you get your credit card or whatever, or your plastic tool, and press along the edge as tight as you can. Then get your X-Acto knife and make sure you cut very precise along the edge there. If you do it correctly, this is where you'll get a nice clean line, and that's what you want. Look at that. Well, minus that part that I gotta get to, but other than that, a nice clean line. See that? Clean line, that's what you want to do to get a professional looking wrap done. Okay, now when using the heat gun, say you have some bubbles and you want to get rid of it, as you can see, if you're going to use the heat gun, make sure you use it on low heat and just go little by little, because what you're doing with the wrap is you're shrinking it, and that's how you get rid of some of these bubbles. So just go little by little and be careful as you're doing it. You don't want to shrink it too much because then you'll ruin the wrap. Okay, once you're done, it should look like this. And you can wrap any part of your bike you wish. For me, I just wanted to do accents, so I did this piece here and also this piece over here. So these are the two pieces that got wrapped. If you enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe, and leave any comments below. And thank you for watching. Also wanted to add that I went to my local vinyl shop and got this custom triangle light cover with the Yamaha emblem. Reason I got this was because my triangle light, I did put an LED in there and it's really bright. It kind of distorts from my demon eyes that I custom made. So now by having this vinyl wrap up here black, it's a flat matte black color, with just the emblem lighting up. So now when I turn on my lights, it's still bright, but not as bright as having the whole triangle light being bright. Therefore, that you still could see my demon eyes. And up close. So this is how it looks like up close. I will have information at the end of this video on where you could purchase this decal for your Yamaha R3.